need someone to manage that? When do they need an office manager? How does Optimize Dental and what you and Brittany do come into that? Are you guys like a good stopgap? Are you guys also working with offices that have managers as in another capacity? Like, but again, the big question is like again, and there's so much now that exists in dentistry that didn't exist 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Like social media managers, website managers, just other consultants, dealing with reps and technicians, and again, so when does an office need an office manager, and how do you guys assist that in that transition?
Yeah, you know what? That's a great question. And I don't know if there's an actual formula for it, but what I have found in my experience of working in multiple practices is that when the dentist is not wanting to take on that responsibility as much anymore, that's a good time for an office manager. And what does that look like? It could just be a part position, part job of office manager. So we have clinics that are fairly small that have an office manager. You think, oh, this is a tiny clinic, you don't need an office manager. But sometimes the dentist just doesn't want to do HR, but you have to have a manager, or doesn't want to deal with patient complaints, or doesn't want to deal with accounts payable. And sometimes the dentist wants to do that stuff. And so it just depends on what they want to do. And so there's no real like stage or whatever for the dentist to decide it. It's really just a matter of personal, how much workload do you want to take on and how much workload do you want to offload onto someone else. Now, finances have a lot to do with that too. Can you afford an office manager? What does that look like? Staff costs are always going to come into play with that. And it's something we definitely look at. But as far as answering a few points of your other questions is like, yeah, we work with office managers. So we have office manager development program that we work with. It's grant funded, which is super awesome. And we work with them for 3 months. Basically, it's 42 hours and we go over pretty much everything that we know, we teach. We want them to be as good as we are doing what we do operationally, understanding the finances. We go over KPIs, we give them tools, we give them things to track and monitor. We help them understand why. So we really elevate them into like an actual, like I would say business manager versus just someone who was an RDA or a receptionist that moved into that position and kind of just knows how things should move. So we teach them about projections and we teach them about numbers and we teach them about, budgeting things. All of that goes into play, and it is quite an intense course. It's one-on-one training. It's super good though. But when we work with these offices, we can work with teams as well. So we have offices that I have a 12-op clinic that I work with, and they don't have an office manager. It's just the dentist, and we have team leads. So,
really?
Yeah, and it works great.
I'm honestly just going to say that because I've seen like some clinics and like honestly the position Teresa mentioned, like I believe clinical lead, team lead, admin lead, all that stuff. I truly believe in because even if you have a manager, it's nice to have those like touch points with different